Hi there and welcome to number 2 of my workshop, of my Bananart workshop. Today in my, what it kind of tries to say here already in my badly written handwriting thingy, title Pony Basics! Today is the topic. And yeah, okay, yeah, awesome start. I always have these very smooth starts, of course. Yes, Pony Basic. I put some things down here. Last time we had some getting started. This time it's kind of, I guess, in some way follow-up to that. Before I get any further, there's one thing I do want to say before I get started. Like last time I missed a lot of questions, it seems, or when I viewed it back, the recording, I missed some questions. So like especially in the once I get in the Q&A half hour at the end, feel free to bold it, use the bold or the underline or vote or something to get the question across. I'll read them out. Once I read them, if I can answer them, I'll answer them. If I can't, I'll probably still try to answer them, although I might fail, so yeah. Let's get this started, Pony Basics, because I'm already like almost 2 minutes in and I have 1 hour and half an hour. Like, oh god. Pony Basics. Yes, okay, where to start? Where to actually start? Like, well, I guess ponies. I guess I should start with a triangle. Wait, maybe not. Maybe a circle. Yeah, let's start with a circle. Oh, is the stream the stream is working, right? Or is working for most? No, let's since it seems to be working for most, let's just continue. Yeah, circle. Oh no, wrong layer. Cut it out. Yeah, there we go. Let's start with a circle. Circle, when it comes to pony, circle seems to be the main feature or the best base, or at least when it comes to the head and the body. So, circle. And ponies, when you look at the show style, which, oh god, I should have grabbed a picture for that, but like when you look at the show style, like what the show does, a pony is generally about 3 times the height of their head. Let's grab an Applejack. Of course, because Applejack. Let's kind of cut her out. The background's not important, but yeah, circles. Actually, Flipper, he needs to be looking inside the canvas. So yeah, basically, it's approximately 3 circles high usually. Like if the circle is 1 head. Slightly smaller, like 1 head. Okay, yeah. Does not compute. No, it's 2.5. That was it. About 2.5. Yeah. Nice start. God, it might differ a bit. But in general, between 3 and 2 circles high, when 1 circle is the head, the size of the head, that seems to be about right, like a rule of thumb. It's a rule of thumb, let's keep that in mind. Like quite a head full, like here, like the lines, like in this case her chin is kind of the same height as the top of her body. It's her head. It's kind of hard to see where the actual circle of the head like ends or starts, I suppose in this case. But yeah, let's just kind of keep that kind of approach in mind. I guess I could pull out one of my old sketches for this. God, I'm wasting so much time here, am I? Oh, yes, I am. But yeah, this kind of just the proportions. But this is, I guess I'll move on from this. This is mostly the case when you try to make it close to the show style. And when it comes to pony basics, I am kind of going to focus on things that do not apply to more than just the show style, like the way the legs are bent and how the skeleton structure kind of works within them. Although that kind of sometimes changes throughout the show slightly, but like those kind of things which you can then play around with. Like once you know the basics for a body structure, any kind of body, like human or anything, you can start playing around with proportion, with the positioning, those kinds of things. Just playing around, just like last time. Just play around, yay! This is a nice little playground or something. And if you feel, yeah, that's oh, indeed. Why is a monkey teaching everything? Oh God, what has this world become to? Oh, monkeys are secretly taking over, of course. Oh, Applejack, I like you. Yeah, so I guess I'll just start with the top of the list. Apparently I put legs on top. Legs. There's the main leg. I'll first focus on the hind leg because, well, yeah, tasty apples there, of course. Yeah, monkey, don't do that. Anyhow, yes, the way the legs, like horse legs, like if this is like the body here, let's kind of draw the body from the side slightly or something. Like this is the body, the spine runs here at the top, and then the neck kind of, or well, kind of sits here with the head, something like this, like that, and then the tail there. I guess you get the idea. And then, like, an important thing, like with when it's kind of got it from the, like, if you look at the real horses or real ponies to be exact, I suppose, where the leg attaches is different than what you might get the impression from the from just looking at this. Like, the leg is actually attached quite high, like the spine runs up here. Get this thing ready. Like the spine runs here over the back at the top, of course. Everything, like the legs, are attached to that. Now, how horse skeleton. Like, now I don't want to make a mistake here. Yeah, it's basically attached to the spine, the leg. And with real horses, there's kind of like, it kind of goes back. There's an extra bone here, which actually goes backwards first, and then it goes forward, which is kind of this area here. So it kind of runs like that. I should do this in a different color, actually. Let's do that in like red or something. Like, with real horses, it kind of runs like there first. Okay, yeah, maybe not red. Let's just do blue. Let's do blue or cyan, because those apples are red. Maybe I should just kind of fade Applejack a bit. Yeah, there, that works. Oh, I'm wasting so much time, am I? Like, oh. A lot less ranting than last time. But yeah, it kind of runs like this slightly, like with real horses. So, and then there's a lot of muscle like going on here. Like there's a bunch of muscles around it, but the bone structure kind of goes like this. And when it comes to ponies, there's of course this little part here, which actually this leg should run a bit lower. like the kneecap, like there's the leg, it goes back. And with ponies they kind of shortened this little part here, so it kind of runs like this, the bone structure. And I guess you can divide it, like if I make this red, this yellow, this green. Oh, that's not a good green. Just like that. It kind of runs like this. Like that's something you can keep in mind, but you can also like simplify it a bit. Like when you look at the ponies, you can kind of get away with just with what's going on. There we go. You're just doing something like this, but I get it kind of differs. It's kind of an unwritten thing. It's not like not really certain. So you can also just kind of, although you do like have to keep in mind this kind of structure. Like then the leg around it, like that. Just as long as you kind of keep in mind that the leg kind of works like this, you can also just work directly with the muscles, of course, and just kind of sketching out. But if you are having trouble with the leg, you might just want to do this. And it's actually the same kind of with the front. The front leg, if we take this body here again, like technically it kind of attaches here and goes to the front first before it moves back again, and then down here, like there. And this one is actually taller, so that's something with ponies. The lower leg is like quite tall with the rear leg, I suppose, and like kind of like that. But like the shoulder, it does run here, but with ponies in the show it's not really used that much, this blue part up there. The same with the hind legs, I suppose, since it's a cartoon style. But if you like want to make a bit of a realistic style, that's something to keep in mind, that real horses do kind of work like this more than like there's multiple reasons why they do that in the show, like that simplify it, because they are a production line. So that's kind of like just with everything. If you want to take the show as an example, just with everything, kind of look at what they do and what the real world kind of does, and see what applies to what you have in mind, to what you want to do, and what they do. So yeah, this is kind of just the basics for the legs. So let's just move on from this. That's enough. Let's create a little leg like how I would kind of do it, I suppose. Let's see if I can create a front leg, like maybe from an angle kind of show. Like I usually like this part here. Like I usually kind of standard leg, like bend around, kind of shows that. Oh, it's quite turned out quite bad actually. Like I first did some lines to kind of follow it, kind of what I went through last week, slightly. Yeah, setting up the basics. So this kind of shown how I would see that leg bending, and this is kind of based on the show style. And like if you're looking at the attachment to the for the shoulder, and you're having problems, like it looks a bit weird, you might try to make that this blue part. I didn't advertise, I did make a journal indicating that I would start, right? Or like making a new journal when I start, when I actually start. Maybe I should just check that. Although, hi there, everyone. Yeah, maybe I should just make a new one or something next time. Indeed. Yeah. Like the shoulder can be something that you can pull out of the box of tricks in case you're having problems attaching it to the body or something. Like when it's bent in a certain way, maybe add that little part that indicates this blue shoulder blade, basically, kind of. I'm not sure what the exact term is, but yeah, that thing. So, and then if I like clean it up a bit, like the blue part is kind of this. Let's make it a tube, I suppose, like that, and then the red part kind of attaches here. And then the yellow part is here, and I kind of made this the green part a bit too long or a bit too short. It kind of seems to vary throughout the show. This green part might be longer another time and maybe shorter another time, I think, or well. And of course there is a part missing here actually, which is the hoof, which actually comes underneath here, which can also bend. Like, or the toes, basically, your toe. Like if the green is your hand, this red down here would be your finger. So I kind of excluded that a bit here, which maybe I should add like purple, like toes, making a toe. Or something, or a hoof actually, yeah, hoof, of course. Like that also. Yeah, kind of like that, I suppose. Like, and your wrist would be between the yellow and the green here. Yeah, indeed. Like the yellow would be your lower arm for you humans out there, and the green would be your hands, the palm of your hands, basically. So let's do that, and then here the purple, kind of, which sometimes can bend, and which you can also use. Like the blue and the purple are some things that you can leave away, leave out, and just include in the green, like make it a straight thing, or you can use it if you need it. Merge all these things. That's the front leg, and let's see if I can do a bit of a rear leg as well for this, and then I'll move on because I'm spending quite a bit of time on the legs. Almost 20 minutes in already. Perspective width on a pony, so drawings that look like ancient Egyptian pictures. There will probably be a focus for another piece, perhaps, like probably like when I do expressions and pony bust, like different angles, is probably something for a different time. And for today I'm going to focus on the basic structure behind the ponies. So let's quickly do the rear leg, and something you can also do like which might be actually useful with the rear leg is just using ovals instead of lines. Although you could also do both, like the lines first kind of indicating the length of the legs or something, or like I'm especially talking about oval because of this bone structure here, the blue and the red. Like the oval would just encircle both of those, and if you draw a straight line you would basically go away from that structure, so that might cause a bit of confusion there, but oh well, just play around with it, see what you prefer best. Yeah, just like this. Now the actual proportions of these legs, I like. Let's actually check that out, shall we? Like, oh god, her face. What's a nice little reference point? Like, if you're having problems with things, taking things like guidelines can be really useful to see. Like, oh, this is the eye, where the eye ends, the ear starts here at that same horizontal line. You can use lines like this to kind of get a reference point of where the eye is positioned, where the legs should be positioned, those sort of kind of things. The same thing like with the chin being about the same height as her flank here, as the top of her flank. Those kind of things, like the maybe nose somewhere, like here the freckles, the height, those kind of things. So that's kind of like if I don't happen to go through something during this workshop, you can use this to kind of find things out yourself. That's kind of how I try to find things out when I decipher or that thing, like figure things out how someone else has done something. The proportions and that kind of things, like figure out the lines. I sometimes just putting down lines and then something just like, oh, it actually fits there. Things like that. Like the rear of the neck kind of indicates where the front legs are attached, apparently, kind of. And this, like, she's standing at an angle, so this leg is maybe slightly different. Like she's standing in a three-dimensional space, so you do have to pay attention to that when you draw lines like this. Like, is it in the three-dimensional space exactly above each other? Things like that. So, where was I? Was with the rear leg. Yeah, the rear leg, like making ovals. Making an oval and the proportion. Yeah, the proportion. I was looking at proportion. Now let's take that leg. Let's see if we can fit it somewhere. Oh, here. Like you can kind of use it to kind of guess. Like the lower part of the leg is larger than the upper part of her leg, of her flank. A standing pony kind of here is a bit between 2 and 3 circles, so between 2 or 3 heads, a standing pony. The average pony, that is. Like Shining Armour and Big Macintosh and the other builds like Celestia and Cadence, they might vary a bit, so you might have to check what those are yourself, but just the average pony kind of goes a bit like between 2 and 3, like 2.5 approximately. Yeah, so here the lower leg is taller, slightly taller. I guess I should decipher it a bit more. Am I in a new layer? Yes, I am. Oh well. Like, yeah, here. The thigh is slightly. It's the same height for me now, so I might actually lower this. You can either lengthen the lower leg or like lower the part. There's no other reference point for me at the moment, so it's kind of 50-50 on which is most useful at the moment. The actual shape of the tie, like it's the tie is kind of like, you can kind of make a droplet out of it. If you when you go show style, you can kind of see it as an upside down droplet almost. Like using basic shapes to define the basics. Ooh, pony basics. Basic shapes like can be used for like using generic shapes like cylinders to build up your pony. Can be useful to kind of decipher. Like you can draw the basic shapes over here, like cylinder. There, kind of cylinder here, the droplets here. Yeah, it's not looking exactly how I want. Oh, I actually made the darn leg lower this time, but yeah. Like this needs to be higher. And anyhow, yeah, let's move on because I've been almost streaming for half an hour already and I'm still with legs. Yeah, so this is kind of very questionable, the blue. And so let's just merge those. The orange is there, the green is kind of here. And then the purple, the length of the purple, it kind of depends. I guess you could use ponies like Big Mac as kind of an indication of how large is their hoof. Because they, Big Mac and Shining Armour and such, they have visible hoofs. So I guess something like that. And yeah, let's move on because this is I'm getting kind of stuck on this. Yeah, and the legs are indeed probably one of the more complex parts of the show. Like also in terms of animating, legs are usually the hardest to do because it contains so much bending points. Rainbow legs, oh god, rainbow leggings. That might actually happen if We Love Fine releases more leggings. We have had rainbow pants, hot pants already, so yeah, I just mentioned that. Anyhow, hoofs. I guess I kind of went through hoofs already, like the hoofs kind of slightly like they kind of come underneath, and you can kind of look at Shining Armour and Big Mac as a reference what they do. Usually like when you have the hoofs or the legs, what usually happens with them is that the front is taller than the rear. It kind of slopes down to the back, tapers down to the back when making a hoof. So I guess that's the general, like if you want to make the hoofs visible. And something just fell down here from the sky somewhere. Okay, yeah, let's continue. Yeah, so that's kind of a generic idea behind the hoofs. If you want to make them visible, hi there. Then you can alternate, like make the fuzzy edge or something, or a hard edge. So it's kind of like real horses, like real horse hooves also kind of run like that, with the front more visible than the rear. Although their hooves are more kind of like this, and with skinny, and yeah. That's for hooves. This is, you can play around with, and they're not used that often as in terms of visible, like Big Mac and Shining Armour. Let's merge that. Let's move on. What's the next on my list? I'm already half an hour in. The body. Yes, maybe I should just try to make a pony and then take the different parts. Like, let's make a head. I usually do the neck as well, and then the body. The body you can use like 2 circles. That usually seems to like a nice little basic for when show style. The head is usually slightly bigger than the body. The circle of the head I've noticed is slightly bigger than the body. Yeah, if you kind of look at it, like 2 circles, like here, and they are quite close together if you put those circles there. Oh god, I'm making so many lines on poor Applejack. Oh, but yeah, circles for the body, and then kind of like what I kind of already indicated here, the neckline, like created a neckline. I guess it kind of, the neck kind of starts where the first circle also starts, kind of runs from that circle, and then the head is kind of attached slightly to the front. Ponies are a bit top heavy in their design. Like, I don't know how much weight there is in this tail, but if this tail was not here, it would look like Applejack could fall over anytime. And yeah, there's the welcome into S4 large. Yes. Indeed, AJ's tail is made of dark matter. Like, her tail can lift like 3 ponies in the Crystal Games, or the Games Pony Play episodes. She actually lifted like the pyramid, the pony pyramid. When they did that, Applejack basically lifted all the others up with her tail. So her tail is quite strong, and I guess a bit heavy, which makes it even more awesome. Like, Applejack's tail, awesome. Like, she can even swing ropes with it, and capture apples. And what else do we have? So yeah, circles, like, and this rear of this circle can be used nicely to create the tie, the flank, to create the curve for the flank, since that's immediately the rear of the body as well. Her rear. Anyhow, yeah, so you can kind of use that to create the legs. I'm kind of doing things on feeling. Like, the more you make ponies, the more you get familiar with where and how long everything is. And like, if you want to do show style, like, you can just use the something's flying around here again. Oh god, the insects are invading. Anyhow, I'll just eat them later once I have the time. Yeah, here, the rear of her neck kind of seems to be the place where this leg is started. So I'm kind of, I always end up making my things from a 3/4 perspective, from kind of angled from the side. I suppose this seems to be my nature. Yeah, kind of this, I suppose. This leg can be moved back a bit more. It kind of depends on what you kind of want to do. Like, sometimes the belly. Yeah, that's also something, like, in the show they kind of seem to do that differently. The line here at the belly where the rear leg attaches, it's sometimes either a curve like this or a curve in the other direction where the leg is either on top or the belly is on top. They seem to employ both systems from time to time. So if you're working on this area, you might just play around with it, see what works. And I guess it kind of depends on your pony, perhaps. Like, you can use it to define a fat pony. Like, if a pony is really fat, you might just make the belly stick out more than the legs. Or if the pony is skinny, the legs would, things like that. So something to play around with, and to maybe, if it looks a bit weird, maybe tie the other curve at a certain angle, if it depends on the angle of your approach. Yeah, so here, a little basic pony. Made of trunk matter. Oh god. Yeah, so here's a basic shape for a pony, I suppose. It's maybe not entirely accurate. Let's actually test how accurate it is when I put it up to Applejack. I made my neck a bit taller. Like, Applejack's head is quite large in this piece, actually, in this screen, and a bit low. her head is also kind of tilted forwards, I suppose. See if I can find some more Applejack. Applejack! Hey, yes. Nice, from this side. Does this thing load? Yeah, this official kind of seems to be slightly off. Like that's like what I kind of mentioned earlier already. Like the show might vary a bit from time to time. Here, another Applejack, because you never have too much Applejack. Never too much. So let's put that in front of here. Yeah, this is slightly closer. I guess my pony is slightly standing tall with the neck, or the chin. Like I can enlarge that. Like you adjusting it. Kind of like sometimes I do find it useful to just do something without reference, or from time to time just do that to see what's stuck in my mind, then compare it and see what things I need to improve on. And that. And yeah, ponies just have very large heads, quite top heavy. So let's, yeah, a bit low. Yeah, that seems appropriate already. Like there we go. That seems like the head. How were the legs actually? Yeah, the body seems to be quite nice, I suppose. So yeah, here we go. A very sketchy body, pony body. So circles and the legs, probably most important, and just you can leave the ears out and the tail and the mane out. I'll indeed, that's something I do want to go. So let's move away from the body for now. I'm running a bit out of time. Let's focus on the face, which is maybe even harder for me to explain, since the face has quite a bit specific style, cartoon style it is, which I'm not familiar with myself. Because I kind of employ my own style already, like yeah, the nose, like the way the nose, yeah, I'm maybe not the best person to ask about show style faces and noses and mouths. Ever. So yeah, I guess it in the show it's kind of hard, like the perspective sometimes a bit like they can go away from the perspective from time to time, like the eyes, I guess in general, since it is a cartoon, they can play around with the positions of everything, the proportions, like that's just how cartoons kind of work. But I guess there are some general rules. You can see like the ear starts quite closely to the back end of the eye. That's something you can keep in mind, but then again you do have to know where the eye starts and where the eye sits. So let's see, the middle of the neck, kind of like the center line of the neck. If you have the neck, if this here is the center of the neck comes here. Well, from this angle also, I'm fortunate that this angle is slightly the same as what I drew here. So kind of like the ear about here. There are nice guidelines out there. Excuse me, that are probably a lot more useful than what I'm doing here right now. like guides. This it kind of like and the way I do ears, like you can play around with the inside of the ear. Like here, this inside, like it's quite full. Like it kind of closes up almost. Like there's no real hole in the eye. And like when you look at the real horses, it's actually quite open here, and it runs more like this. That's how I do the ears. The ears. Did I say I? I don't know. Oh, derp. I just don't know what went wrong. And how? Yeah, ears quite round. They are quite round in the show, like, or yeah, rounded in every direction almost. And they end up quite low, and the eye like starts a bit like there, for example, like kind of rough, and the eyes are quite big as well, like along with the head. The eyes are quite big. So, oh yeah, I traced that really bad. Let's remake that nose. Let's try that out, shall we? Yeah. There's there. Ponies don't have chins. They apparently don't have chins. This is just, or well, they do have chin, I suppose, but not like, or well, it's just round. It's a round circle. Yeah, so, yeah, I guess I'm not the best person to kind of go to for faces like this. So let's move on to next the head, the hair. Oh, I already went to face, eyelash. Yeah, the eyelashes actually going back here real quick. And the iris can vary in size depending on the emotion, like small, like or large, like being cute. Very large usually equals quite cute. But eyelashes like Twilight and such and Rarity have quite elaborate eyelashes with additional down there. Applejack has rounded ones, as you kind of see there, which is less feminine, I suppose. And then Rainbow Dash and others have just straight eyelashes. Just they're straight and rounded, and especially when you vector, that's important. And oh god, I'm running out of time, and this is not going how I planned, or well, what I imagined, I suppose. Yeah, this goes to show how much I kind of go my own route already. Maybe I should do an episode where I just show how I do my ponies, rather than focusing on show style. If you'd like to see that, let me know in comments or anywhere, or if you'd like that, in comments on my journal or something. Maybe I should do a poll for that. Hair. Yes, that's something I did want to go through, which actually is quite universal, and which the show also does, which you kind of see when you see ponies from behind. Like, let's try to make a pony from behind. The manes, specifically the manes, the hair does not work like humans. Human hair works. Like, if you look at real horses, their mane basically only runs through the center of the head and across the neck as well, which with ponies is basically the same thing, although it's usually covered up. The ponies you can most easily see it is probably Fluttershy and Rarity from the main 6, that is. And maybe when the ponies are shown from behind, you kind of get the same indication as well. Like, all the hair comes from the center of the head. So when you do hair, when you try to design your own hairstyle, that is probably the first thing you should keep in mind. That the hair comes from the center, so you kind of have to base your design around that. And yeah, they don't often get shown from behind where it's really visible. There are of course occasions where it does happen. But yeah, so like where is a Fluttershy from the show? Like when you look at Fluttershy, yeah, I guess with background points, looking at background points as well. Let's make a bit of Fluttershy from the front, like with Fluttershy's face and rarity as well. You can see how it runs through the center, because it kind of runs like this, like the hair just comes from the center, like that. Like that kind of indicates already that the hair is aligned in the center of the head and nowhere else. Like and like when you look at like Twilight's hair, it kind of obscures that part. So, but technically Twilight's hair and Objects and Rainbow Dash and Pinkie Pie, I guess, as well. Well, Pinkie Pie's Pinkie Pie, of course. But yeah, that hair also comes from the center. Although it's bent in certain ways, and I guess she uses her magic and her comb to get it in that shape every time. Every day. We've seen different hairs. Yeah, so that's kind of what you kind of have to pay attention to with designing the hair. Looking at my list, faces, chin. I kind of went through the rest of my list already. Oh god, my preparation for today is so bad. Let's take a sip actually. Oh, last week I didn't notice by the end of my long stream that I had been talking quite a bit. Yeah, Twilight's hair has been seen from behind before, and it's raining. Anyhow, yeah, Twilight's hair has been seen from behind before, like, and ponies do have like some, or with some ponies it's quite gradually, like everything is going kind of the same direction, but with Twilight, one part of her mane goes in front of her head, like over the top of her head to the front, and the other actually goes down to the side, so that kind of creates this this dividing point in the neck, in the rear of the in the neck, or the back of the neck. That was what I was going to say. And you also see this with Rainbow Dash and Applejack. Especially with Rainbow Dash, you kind of see it, like the three colors that are on top, like those are yellow, orange and red. Those go up here, and the blue, green and purple go down here when you see it from behind. So yeah, there's let's see, I have a bit of time. My list, this topic has been a bit harder for me to do than last week's, sadly. I hope it's still been useful. Let's see if I can go a bit further into hair, with the different hairstyles that are employed in the equestrian world, in the world of Equestria. Let's see if I can use that face over there. Let's merge all those things. Let's use you. to kind of show the try to go through the different hairstyles like Applejack and Rainbow Dash have a certain hairstyle. There's Twilight, which some other ponies, let's see which other ponies also have similar to Twilight. I cannot recall exactly which one is, but basically where there's like this line here. Yeah, let's try to decipher her hair. Like there's this angle up that goes up there. There's quite a specific angle to Twilight's mother indeed also. Like it usually seems to go up this way at this side and from this side here, and that can actually kind of be a hint as to if this part comes from the back of her mane, like if I call it this, like if the hairs here come from the back and the hairs here come from the front of her head, and that is slightly visible, I think, in this curve back here, because this side is higher, which might indicate that it comes from the front. Like it first has to go up and then forward, like so. And this hair, it might be a bit lower, because if you think about it being the same length, all the hairs being the same length, then this hair, if it comes from the back, it needs to travel a longer distance. So in order to have the same height up front here, it takes a lower route in order to end up at the same height. So that might kind of decipher how Twilight's hair kind of works, and everything in between as well. Like blue, the center of blue kind of runs somewhere here, I suppose. Kind of like that. That kind of deciphers the center line on her head, how Twilight's hair kind of sits and works. Maybe that helps with creating your own hairlines to understand the basics behind her hair, which I guess this is pony basic, so that makes sense. That's we're trying to go through that. And the same thing with the rear, with the back. Although it's slightly easier here because this one is almost is aligned with the line, like the hair, the origin of the hair on the back is also vertical, and this line is also vertical or slightly vertical. I guess it actually stands in the shot. It's more like a slight angle something. God, I actually forgot the exact, but yeah, like that. So that's kind of Twilight's thing. And then there's the hairstyles like Rarity and Fluttershy and other ponies. Quite an amount of ponies, I think, use that. Although, well, there's a bit more compared to Twilight at least. I guess the least used hair would be Pinkie Pie. Oh well, Pinkie Pie is Pinkie Pie hair, which kind of, well, Pinkie Pie, yeah, Pinkie Pie. Fun, fun, fun. Here with Fluttershy's hair and Rarity's hair, you can kind of clearly see where each part of the hair kind of comes from, and it kind of turns into a point here, as all the certain hairs eventually end earlier. It becomes less and less the further you go outwards, and keep it all the same, like ending at a point. And it depends on what kind of haircut. Like you can of course cut certain parts of the hair shorter than other parts to play around with the hairstyle. So here, and Rarity is basically kind of an advanced version of this hairstyle with the curl at the end is actually kind of the same thing, but just more styled with tools and a bit less natural, I suppose, which of course fits rarity because, well, fashion is the pony. Of course you try to make your hair look just as beautiful as your outfits. Then of course, like, well, let's actually try to cover Pinkie Pie hair. Pinkie Pie hair. Close enough. Rainbow Dash hair and Applejack, which are quite similar, although Applejack is a bit more specific things, like the but they both seem to kind of go the same route, like just kind of a bit closer to making it appear like human hair, basically covering up the fact that it only comes from the center, but it can still be deciphered as coming from the center, or well, seen as coming from the center, like the tip, the very front tip, probably originates from the front most part. And yeah, 3 minutes left indeed. I'll see if I can go to this final kind of hairstyle. So this is probably the one of the more basic hairstyles, the Rainbow Dash style hair, and Derpy employs it as well, and I think a lot of other, like Scootaloo as well, that's kind of the same way, and this is, I think, also just the easiest to kind of make. It's kind of the go-to hairstyle if you don't know what to do. Like, just do this as like a placeholder or something, and just to at least see how your pony looks when it has hair. Pinkie Pie, close enough. 2 minutes to go. There are of course other things you can employ, like Applejack Gala hair, where it's braided. Whoa! Excuse me? Okay. Phone. Stop doing that. Yeah, and with that, I guess I ran out of time, kind of. But yeah, braided hair, you can do that, and tails, or things like that. Let's see what did Applejack. Oh, Applejack had the nice little full curl going on, kind of still showing her original hairstyle, but a fancy way. And with that, I guess we're entering the Q&A part. I suppose, or well, let's actually see. Oh, 1 minute actually here, but so let me fix this. Oh god, I made a mess out of here. Yeah, Applejack's braided hair. I kind of want to do more like tails like that. Oh god, those ugly legs, like, oh my god, rainbow legs. God, that pony, that body looks like nothing. Yeah, overview. I kind of went through the legs quite a bit, and I guess they still kind of need work, or well, in terms of being show style, which is kind of maybe for me personally, like I kind of employ my own style on the legs already. Although with these basics, I I use these basics for my own style, like the length, the way they bend, and I might play around a bit with them depending on what I want. And you can do the same. Like I've been talking about a lot about show style, but of course some artists choose to not even approach show style in the first place. So then you'd probably be best off looking at real horses, things like that. So real horses are a nice reference, since the show, which is also a nice thing, like the show they did mention that they don't want the ponies to be doing anything that would break a horse's leg or something, or they kind of want to keep their movement and things horse-like. So yeah, use horses as a reference, like how the bone structure works, those kind of things, and you can get some proportion inspiration from the show, things like that. And with the face, since I am kind of more approached to a bit more realistic style, the face is probably the hardest to kind of figure out if you want to, or if you want to stick to the show style. The face is probably hardest, since the face, with any cartoon, the face is played around with so much that that does not translate into the real world properly. So that's something that you might need to figure out yourself what you want, but then you can kind of look at, like I personally looked at human faces, how they work, how their nose and eyes kind of work around in a 3D space. So you can kind of use that as a reference, since, well, the ponies in MLP are kind of like have human-like features, like Entro. They're like the eyes especially, they're more human than horse-like, and the mouth and things like that. So yeah. Yeah, and then I kind of went to the body and the head, kind of the proportions again, which I kind of showed here as well. It's kind of almost three heads high, a pony, not including the hair. The hair can of course vary a bit, but like from the skull, from the top of the skull, not including the ears either. But yeah, basically the face, the circle of the face, and then that times three, about 3 times, is kind of almost the pony height when they're standing straight. And the head being larger, those things. The face, I went kind of through the face, also I failed there, I suppose. Yeah, that's the entire problem with kind of doing realistic style opposed to show style. And then the hairs, yeah, the most important thing is just the origin of the hair. When talking about ponies, that's the main thing, and with the rest, you can play around with it as much as you want. So yeah, also the hoofs here, kind of like, if you want to show the hoofs, just a little thing, like they taper down towards the back, or yeah. So I guess Q&A part, if there's like any questions regarding this topic, pony basics, like a leg, going through something again, or something I have not covered here, or that might require a bit more coverage, or just a question about something I did here, let me know in the chat. Feel free to bold it or underline it. So I see it, because last time when I looked back the recording, I missed some questions that I would have loved to answer, but I completely missed those. So none so far. That can either be a good thing or a bad thing. Yeah, this topic I might redo kind of a similar topic later, showing more my own style, my own approach, deciphering my own approach to just a basic pony. I might do that. That is an option. It kind of depends on what the viewers want. Welcome back. Just throw your ideas at me. Also, just in general, just any topic. Where's my list actually of topics I had? Like I don't have. I'm not sure about the topic for next time. Let's see. Yeah, because next week I'm not sure. I don't think there will be a workshop next week with BronyCon. I think that was next weekend, right? During this Saturday as well. I do want to watch that. It's getting streams, right? Yeah. Yeah, this is happening next Saturday, so probably no workshop next week, but probably the week after that. Let's see. Yeah, something that I also must not forget, which last time I did at the last minute, which ended up me going overtime slightly, is the challenge. Yeah. Oh yeah. I actually had nothing thought that too yet, just like last time actually. A challenge involving pony basics. Oh, giant insect here. Challenge, or a little task, or a little thing you can focus on. Yeah, I guess kind of going to. I guess a challenge would be guidelines, like, or well, pony basics kind of involve different aspects. You can try to like explore the skeleton, like how is a pony built. You can, like, if you make the leg, for example, maybe draw it from different angles with bend in different ways, maybe gripping something, that kind of things, like interaction. Like once you have the basics of the leg down, you can try to apply it to some to situations. Yeah, in my last pieces, kind of, and yeah, basically also just you can play around with stances, and yeah, kind of like when you if you make a pony, like if you bend make the leg, maybe show maybe like do a paint over to indicate how the bones run, to show that you focused on how the bone structure works, and if it runs properly. That is what some artists actually also do when they critique, especially with creatures, humans. When something is off, when the proportions are off or something, they might do a sketch, a paint over, to indicate where the bones run, and to kind of show what is off, like where the leg is attached might be at the wrong locations, kind of like showing that by doing a paint over of like the skeleton structure, kind of show the length of the leg, to kind of as a what you call it, like a double check, like a double check thingy, slightly. Like here the spine actually runs high, so the front legs are technically also attached to the spine and thus run quite high in the body, although the top part, the blue part here, doesn't run, things like that. Yeah, and just maybe doing things like this or something similar, indicating where and how things bend. Or maybe if you don't want to do the legs, maybe do the body or the head, like decipher the face, how large the eyes are. If you want to do some research into that, like the position of the eyes, take some different screenshots from the show, or maybe take a work from someone else. Also, like one of my works, if you want to decipher those, for example, like for this, like doing a guideline thing, will hereby permission to use some of my works for educational purposes, and to kind of, well, educational as in you can also see my flaws when you do that, but that's an option, I suppose, for the challenge you can do. Or maybe you want to focus on the hair, like making different hairstyles, trying to explore that, try to practice like rarities hair, maybe from different angles, decipher it, or create your own hair based on existing hairs. Or well, like Pinkie Pie. How does Pinkie Pie's hair work? I don't know. I just well, I guess Pinkie Pie's hair actually is quite similar to Fluttershy's and Rarity's hair as well. It is actually in the same line as Fluttershy and Rarity, or at least in some way. Like you can, with Pinkie Pie, you can still see the center line on here, but then how the rest works, yeah, yeah, Pinkie Pie. And the way her hair curls when you see it from the front, things like that. With the entries, I guess you can go for the challenge. You can do something else in ponies if you'd like. I guess with this one, since it went to pony basics, or well, I guess you can focus on the pony part, or I guess on the basics parts as well. Like, yes, universal rule of thumbs applied on different things as well. That's a good thing. That I'd certainly would be nice to see as well if you want to do that. So yeah, sure. Make any kind of creature you want, maybe insects or something, like applying basically kind of maybe even like with when you take other creatures, you can, like, since there are already quite a bit of guides for I suppose for the pony in terms of guidelines of how large the eyes are, where they're positioned, where the ear is positioned. Maybe try to do the same with something else that has not really been done. Try to explore it. Show that you're kind of investing time in it, kind of as an incentive to try and spend some time figuring those things out. Since the main goal behind the challenge, or the main idea behind the challenge, is to kind of maybe motivate you to do these things, and when you do make something for the challenge, you can throw it at my face, and I will be more forced to give some feedback to it, as I will dedicate the first half hour of the Saturday live stream to that. Pony? I have ponies here. No request ponies though. Yeah. Forced critique. Oh god, what have I said? What have I done? Oh no. Or well, only if you want it, as in more forced from my perspective, like rather than from your perspective, like forced. As in, like, if you want to critique, you can you now have an excuse to throw it at me, and I will be like, okay, yeah, I said I would do that, so that kind of thing. Sorry, I don't do requests. Yeah. Just throw things at me if you have results. If you're going to do something similar to this, even if it's not directly related to these two ponies, just any kind of basics, you can throw it at me. See to I'll go through that next time, which is not next week, since I also won't. I guess for this challenge you actually have 2 weeks. So don't feel forced. It's not something forced. Just do it if you want to, and just do it in your own time. Like it's the main thing is to advance yourself, like improve yourself in art by just making art. That's the main thing. Like making art helps you become better at it. And oh no, missing in action. So yeah, if there are any questions regarding the challenge, or if I was unclear, since I assume I challenge I need to write it down again, the exact task for these for the next one, since I'll have to write it in the journal once that's get started. Hey there! Yeah, this recording, an hour and 20 minutes almost. Any questions by now, or shall I end this workshop a bit earlier? The challenge, I'll put it in the journal again. It's basically it kind of involves these kind of things, going to the basics of the pony. Either they're going through the proportions, the build of the skeleton, how everything bends, the face, how large the eyes are, for example, kind of showing the structure behind everything. And the critiques that I did before this workshop, I think I will try to see if I can upload it. I've got it in a separate recording, if I'm not mistaken. Although this week's critique kind of went all over the place. There's no real structure in it this week. So I actually wanted to do critique on as a comment on each of the entries as well. To at least have it in a written sense, besides just a spoken words. Yeah, maybe it will be a hidden fit that I'll link in the journal from last topic. Or something like that, or to the ones that send it indeed, send the results in. I definitely need to get a better structure for the reviews of the entries for next time. So the challenge is clear, basically just what I went through, what's kind of shown here. I'll upload this to my Deviantart in a moment. You'll be able to find it through in the it will be in the script, so I'll put it in the journal. I'll update the journal with this upload, and suppose if there's no questions regarding the topic or the challenge, I guess I'll end this workshop for this week. I'll put your background, of course. I'll put your everywhere. I will continue general art after this workshop for hours on end for those who watch this on the live stream replay or YouTube. Be sure to check out the journal on my Deviantart and just keep an eye on my journal. Suppose if you want to catch the live streams, you can see the times there. And all the challenges will be written there as well. I will write them down. Any entries you have, you can send them through the comment on the journal of the topic that it is about, or through a note. You can title the notes like challenge or anything, or I'll just go through them. I don't have that many notes yet. Careful when I say. And I was going to say something else. I was trying to remember it when I'm going through everything. Oh wait, yes. To repeat, next week there will be no workshop because of BronyCon happening. The August the 3rd will not have a workshop. I think the earliest the next workshop will be the 10th. August 10. I think. Not sure about it. But I don't think there's anything else that day, so it will probably be 10. So you'll have 2 weeks. I will be streaming next week, like usual, but just no workshop because I'll probably be watching and paying attention. So that's it. I'll restart the stream and continue into general art. Doing something. Failing. So I'll see you there. Thank you all for watching. Those who view this afterwards, the replay. See you on the next workshop. Or, yeah. Bye. I'll be right there.